Ibrahima Balde, Grts.
Well, environmental degradation is one of the major challenges facing developing countries. Whether it is the construction of new hotels or new development projects, it seems humankind has an appetite for clearing the environment. This report takes a closer look at how a new environmental concept is being promoted by local experts.
The new development concept, the National Environment Agency is trying to promote environmental impact assessment. The Gambia is undoubtedly blessed with pristine beaches and an enviable landscape, which is why tourism is a flourishing business. However, over the years, experts from the NEA have expressed concern about the way the environment is being managed. Famara Drame and Omar Baji visited the tourism development area to assess the level of damage created as a result of sea erosion. It is not a pretty picture, said Drame.
Senegambia is one of the areas that has benefited from the Coastal Protection Project, which the Gambia government did in 2004. And since then, the National Environment Agency has taken responsibility of monitoring coastal zone of the Gambia, including Senegambia. And now the situation we're seeing there right now is that the erosion is very rapid, it's going very fast. And then we've seen when the work was done, about 1 million cubic meters of sand was pumped in there, and to put the area back, considering the fact that the area has two of the biggest Gambia hotels, as the Kairaba Beach Hotel and the Senegambia. And because the erosion was threatening the infrastructure there, and then the beach was also lost, which is having an impact on tourism.
Clearing trees and sand to make way for a potential development project, Omar Baji emphasized the need to consider environmental impact assessment before anything else.
What I have seen here is more of mining that is taking place, and then you realize that if you look at the way the nature in the terrain, you should know that there was no environmental impact assessment being done. As environmental impact assessment, we'll be able to tell the developers or the one who are doing the mining what activities you're supposed to do after when you've done your mining. But look at this terrain, you can see all these areas. You realize if this is an area that's supposed to be blocking us from the seawater. Now, if these areas are being done like this, eventually this thing will all go off, and then the whole place will be, and any time in terms of sea rise or sea level rise that we are about changes in climate change, the whole neighboring settlement will be inundated into water.
Caterpillars and bulldozers are at it again, leveling the ground for a cozy beach resort area. Baji said development is crucial, but it must be carried out by all means necessary. Let's go for a music break. We'll be back with more stories right after the break. Welcome back to Weekend Spectrum. Preliminary studies conducted by archaeologists at Cheikh Anta Diop University in Senegal have made a historic breakthrough after an assistant professor discovered human settlements thousands of years in an area that was inundated with floods some weeks ago. As we hear in this report, other tangible items collected in some areas of the capital Dakar have been carefully studied.
Since the 26th of August, Professor Mustafa Sall has been coming back to this place, either alone or with students of history. After recent torrential rains fell across Senegal, this archaeology professor at the Cheikh Anta Diop University in Dakar found artifacts that may date back several thousand years.
First of all, we found ceramics, which have characteristics placing them in the Neolithic period. Second, we found perforated shells, and it is the first time that we have found objects of this type here, objects which have been perforated in this manner.
One of his students that regularly accompanies him in his research found these objects around 300 meters from the first site. With these discoveries, the West Foix neighborhood in Dakar has become an interesting archaeological site for researchers.
This is interesting from an anthropological point of view, because it suggests that the region was inhabited much earlier than we thought. Cap Vert has been occupied since prehistoric times. This means that people lived here long before they were identified with the Serre, Labou, or other ethnic groups.
The artifacts are now at the Archaeology Laboratory in the History Department at the Cheikh Anta Diop University in Dakar. In the coming days, they will be taken to another laboratory set up by Professor Cheikh Anta Diop for more precise carbon-14.
Meanwhile, in Poland, the classified documents have been raising eyebrows on an incident that happened in the 1940s. According to the documents that were recently revealed to the public, some 20,000 Polish nationals were massacred by Russians during the Stalin era.
Shocked to learn that Allied powers may have known about and covered up the atrocity. In 1940, on the orders of Stalin, Russian secret police executed some 22,000 Polish nationals, including 4,500 officers, and buried their bodies in mass graves in the Katyn forest near Smolensk. Documents recently declassified by the United States suggest that U.S. officials knew about the massacre as early as 1943. Russia finally admitted responsibility in 1990.
What is significant to me is the official position taken by the government, that the truth could not be told, and that it was withheld from the Polish people until the democratic transition in 1989. I could not even find out where my grandfather was buried.
The U.S. and Britain laid the blame on Nazi troops, possibly for fear of upsetting the Kremlin, a crucial ally. In response to an offer of information, a telegram from a U.S. intelligence official read, quote, "Interested only if report shows German complicity."
We are almost certain that both Churchill and Roosevelt knew. If they did know, what did they think? Why was it covered up rather than made public? Was the alliance with the Soviets so important that complete silence was necessary to win the war?
Polish authorities are now demanding the declassification of all documents relating to Katyn, especially those stored in Russian archives.
Well, that's all what we have time for in this edition of the program. Thanks for watching. Have a pleasant weekend. I am Oumou Diallo.
And I am Deiko Mademba.